Okay, so day 3 of rewriting your own encyclopedia. We're going to be talking about expression and how other people interact and understand and experience you when you're expressing yourself. And so to talk about like the reason why, we're going to give you an example first, and then we'll go into the goal of it. So go ahead.
Yeah, so the example for me is I express, a lot of my negative emotions, and I try and prevent them from coming out when I'm being experienced by exercising. And, I get really intense, and it's just an emotional outlet for me that grounds me and helps me show up the way I want to.
Yeah, and so other people get to experience the benefits of those actions for you. And so the goal with this is making sure that our expression is in alignment with our goals and our values and our priorities and our thoughts and our beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So that we're showing up and interacting with the world in a way that we want to. And so yesterday we talked about reframing, and so reframing is the first step, and then the expression is the second step, right? And kind of the metric to measure if you're in line, right, is your values and your beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So with expression, it is an outlet, but it's a way that we can have this internal, we can communicate with creation and interact with this world and with other people.
Yeah, and I think I can give a couple other examples, I guess, for me, which is, the difference between maybe operating on a fight or flight mode and you express yourself out of kind of an anger or a reaction. Whereas if you're able to kind of withhold your reaction and step out of that and think more with your planning or, a little bit higher vibrational state, you can express yourself in a way that creates mutually beneficial communication for everyone.
Yeah, so an example for me, it's, Kyle's was a really positive example of expression, right? So mine is not as positive. So my example of expression is when I get overwhelmed or confused or just like I am overweighted with decision making, I tend to throw myself into my work. And I love to work. It keeps my mind busy, it keeps my body busy, and it kind of compartmentalizes all the stuff that's going on in my life. But what happens is that when I'm working all the time, my children feel like I'm absent, right? Like I'm not able to spend as much time with them because I'm trying to check out of what's going on, of all this constant feedback or variables. And so my work really grounds me and helps kind of give me a sense of peace because I'm good at it, and I like to promote myself when I'm unsure of what's going on, right? That's a self-esteem trick or tool that I use. However, knowing that my values are, family is really important to me, emotional security is very important for me to teach my children that I have to keep myself in check if I'm being experienced the way I want to, if that's in alignment with my children. And so it's a beautiful recognition on my part because I know what I can do that feeds my spirit, when I'm being overwhelmed, but I also know that I have to kind of maintain some strict boundaries and have a continuous measurement of where I'm at as far as how much time and emotional expression I'm using towards my work, right? And they're completely innocent bystanders, right? And it's not because like I'm angry or frustrated or any ill will intention at all. It's just because like there's work to get done and I kind of get consumed in it. And I think that that's normal, and anybody older than us can completely understand because all of our parents did it, right? They grew up in this generation where work came first, not family, unless you're in Generation X. But most of us don't have parents in that generation. And so everybody above that, family was second because it was more of like a needs. It was like more of working, having money to pay for food. And that reminds me of like the fight or flight thing that you were mentioning. People who have been through trauma, who haven't healed their trauma, or who are getting out of abusive relationships, or who have just been really impacted and haven't processed an experience, they can be stuck in that because our body holds that emotional frequency if we can't process it right away. And then we'll intend keep pulling experiences like that to confirm it with confirmation bias. And the more that happens, we start to stay in this state of just, what is it, hyper focused, like on edge, always looking for the bad things that could go on to protect ourselves. And then we show up in lack. Every action that we do is alignment with lack and fear, because we're in this state of just surviving. And so if you can recognize how you're showing up when you're in that state, usually you show up, you can feel it in your body a lot, and then you can see small behaviors on people who are stuck in lack because they're afraid of things, or there's not enough, or they're victims, or they're lonely. They never, it never works out for them, or so on and so forth. So
yeah, or just wanting outside things to fill
them up.
Need, our needs, some of our needs. Another way I think of this is the opposition between expression and suppression. A lot of people will not express their stuff and they'll end up suppressing it, and it'll come out in other ways. It can come out as depression or anxiety, unresolved anxiety.
So real fast, it's energy, right? And this expression, this force that we need to express ourselves comes from our thoughts and our emotions. And so that energy compiles if it can't, be moved anywhere. And so we have to move it, or it comes out in unhealthy, health problems, right? Or alcoholism, or drugs, or addictions, often with all other things outside of yourself.
Right, because like anything, it can become a habit to either suppress or express. So one other thing that came up for me was just the importance of balance. And when I think of expression, because it was normal for me for a long time, I expressed anger, and I didn't really know or have another way besides kind of just showing up angry. When I was younger, I was told I was a very angry kid. And so, there's finding a balance between being true to yourself and expressing your anger, but also not necessarily needing to harm or hurt other people when you're angry. And so getting back to the original purpose of expression, because that was good, but expression is for you, right? Mm-hmm.
It's your energy. It's how you choose to co-create with the world. Similar to an artist writing a song or doing a painting, right? It just feels good and they want to do it. I doubt it really would matter if it got, if people paid for it or not, mm-hmm. because that's the passion behind it. And so when we're going to express ourselves, I have how I choose to express myself on uneasy situations, like my work, is sometimes I will withdraw and go inside to analyze it before I choose to express it with anybody else, because I really don't understand how I'm feeling, or I haven't made my mind up about the story that I'm going to tell myself. And so I'll sit on it for a couple of days, and when I'm sitting on it, I'm doing a lot of internal dialogue, right? Internal. And I have been told that the way I'm being experienced is not really comfortable, by my loved ones. They think that maybe I'm withdrawing from them or pushing them away, but in all reality, it's not about them. It's a way that I process myself. And so I've learned that when I'm kind of getting into that routine, I have made a huge effort to go to my loved ones and just let them know, I'm still processing this, so I'm not trying to withdraw. That's not my intention. If you feel that way, I've been told that I've done that in the past, but this is just part of my process. Right. And so when I come to a conclusion, or if I feel like I need to talk to you about it, I'll let you know. And that is part of just like, how do I want to show up to people? How do I want, connection is a value of mine. And so I want to have that connection, even if I have to take a couple of days to withdraw and to think about the story, because the story I tell myself is about me. And if I'm not right with myself, I can't show up for other people. And so, other people, my team recognizes that, and we have this understanding, these rules of engagement that I communicate, I need time. If I start to back up, just give me some time, and I'll come back. So it's just a different spin on how you express yourself.
Yeah, so I think just to kind of wrap up this particular issue or topic, is the importance of being aware of how you communicate. And it's your job to teach people how to communicate with you, and it's also your job to control. You can control how other people experience you through your communication. And so, there's a million different ways to say any given thing. And so you have to really, identify what the goal is of the communication, and then figure out the best way to get there. Usually that takes a little bit of planning, forethought, trying to identify who you're dealing with and how you're going to deal with them.
And it takes time. This is a process that we have both done for a while, and some of the things we didn't do, right? We're like adding and mixing and kind of creating what works for us. And so what works for Kyle doesn't always work for me. So I think the first step is to identify something that needs to be reframed, right? When you start to reframe it, it needs to be in alignment with your goals and your values. And then from that point, you can develop expectations and goals. And then you can think about how other people are experiencing you. But that is at the very end, because we do things for ourselves first, and we fill up our own cup first. And then we either find the people who accept us and add value to us, or we communicate with them what we need, right? And it might take a little bit of just explaining yourself, but everybody has their own shit too.
Right.
So I don't want anybody to get caught up in like how in other people, right? We're still focusing on ourselves. Next week is when we're going to be talking a lot more about interacting and communicating with other people. So we're still working on ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.